don't know if there's any doctors that follow this podcast, but if there are, maybe you could hop in the comments and help us figure out what the hell is going on with this Yankees team. So I've been watching baseball for over 30 years. I've been playing baseball for close to that amount of time. And honestly, I can't ever think of a time in which I've seen so many injuries on one team as the Yankees have had over the last 2 years. It's absolutely mind-boggling. So last night we found out that James Paxton is headed to the MRI tube with forearm tightness. That's usually the precursor to Tommy John surgery. Now, it might just be inflammation, it could be stiffness. I do not want to speculate. But if you remember, Luis Sebarino had tightness in his forearm. Tommy Kahnle had tightness in his forearm. Both of those guys ended up having Tommy John surgery and are out for the year. Also, Gleyber Torres, the Yankees' budding superstar who is not having a great year, pulled his hammy on the way to first base. They have not announced the results of his MRI, but it does help that the Yankees have a few days off now because the Yankees-Mets series has been canceled due to a case of COVID on the Mets roster. And honestly, it's for the best. It's for the best because I don't know that I could watch this weekend. I mean, I was going to, but it's just getting so tough to watch this team when guys just keep going down constantly. What is with all of these injuries? So this offseason, the Yankees replaced their pitching coach with Matt Blake. He's sort of a spin rate wizard, sort of a modern-day analytics and kinetics expert. He knows how to put the spin on the ball. He knows how to shape pitches and things like that. And there was a lot of thought that this would revolutionize the Yankees pitching staff. And we've seen some positive signs. We've seen Chad Green have a great breaking ball. We've seen Masahiro Tanaka's velocity uptick slightly. But for the most part, it hasn't been good for the Yankees pitching. The bullpen is getting hammered day in and day out. And the strength and conditioning coach that they hired was Eric Cressey. After a record number of injury list trips last year, they brought somebody in who we thought would change the regimen, get some new machines in the weight room, get some new stretches set up for this team, and hopefully avoid some of these injured list trips. But so far, let's go through it. Let's just take a look because it's easier if you visualize it. Let's start with Luis Sebarino, the Yankees' number 2 starter going into spring training. He's out for the season with elbow surgery, Tommy John surgery. Tommy Kahnle also joined him having Tommy John surgery a couple weeks ago. He's also out for the year. Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge pisses me off because he wanted to stay in the lineup, and he says he's 100%, but the Yankees had to play this crucial series without him anyway because in typical Yankees fashion, they were over-precautious and stuck him on the IL. Giancarlo Stanton. He's expected back in early to mid-September. He's got a hamstring issue. DJ LeMahieu, he's expected back in early September with a sprained thumb. Now, this one I don't think you can put on the training staff. He's done this before. It was just an awkward swing. Zach Britton, expected back sometime in early September. Hamstring. James Paxton, forearm. We don't know yet. Could be just day-to-day, could be season-ending. We just don't know. Kyle Higashioka, oblique, September 1st, he's expected back. I think it might be longer for him because obliques typically take a while. And Gleyber Torres, hamstring. We don't know yet. No results back from the MRI as of now. And I don't think we'll get them today because there is no game, so we probably won't find out till the Yankees meet with the media again, which, who knows when that could be, whenever this COVID situation this weekend goes away. I don't know if MLB is going to move the Yankees, but I don't think anybody else is not playing, so I think the Yankees are just going to have another few days off, which means more doubleheaders, which means more work for my ass. I think just as concerning as the number of injuries is the propensity for the Yankees to misdiagnose injuries or to mislead the media about injuries. Now, Aaron Judge, they said he was pulled out of the game for precautionary reasons. A couple days later, we find out it's a slight calf strain, and he's going to miss some time. And he misses a crucial series. We could have used one of those Judgian blasts yesterday or the day before or the day before that. This series against the Rays was pitiful. The Yankees were completely overmatched. I just don't know what you do to fix it. I mean, you already fired the trainer. You already brought in somebody new. I just don't get it. It is absolutely flummoxing to me, to this fan. And I think the only thing that you can do is try and change these guys' diets. Maybe try and tell these guys to play through some pain once in a while. I know there have been times in the past where guys have played with a pulled hamstring for a couple of weeks. I remember Paul O'Neill during the playoffs in 1996. He played the entire thing on one leg, and he was still productive. He was still chasing down fly balls, making great catches. Mickey Mantle played with a torn ACL for 15 years. Randy Johnson pitched through a herniated disc for 2 seasons with the Yankees. Now, he wasn't fantastic, but he took the ball. Is the Yankees roster just a bunch of ninnies and sissies who can't tolerate any pain and get hurt at the slightest awkward movement? Are these guys training in such a specific fashion that doing any kind of movement that goes above and beyond their traditional training regimen causes their muscles to get strained or pulled? I don't know. These are the questions I'm asking, though. These are the questions that pretty much every Yankees fan who's been watching closely is asking. How does this keep happening? How do you allow this as an organization to keep happening? And we're seeing more injuries around baseball this year. We kind of expected that because of COVID. It's mostly been pitchers. It's been a lot of elbow issues. Guys haven't had the time to ramp up. But the position players have had months off, months to train and get ready for this sprint of 60 games in 66 days. And here we are. We're less than 30 games into the season, less than halfway, and we've lost our backup catcher, our starting second baseman, our starting shortstop, our starting right fielder, and our starting DH. We've also lost 2 relief pitchers from our setup staff, and before the season, we lost our number 2 starter. And now it looks like we might lose our number 3 starter. This team is not going to win the World Series if we keep having injuries like this. I'm sorry, Yankees fans, but they need to figure out a way to get guys healthy. And if you need to make a move and trade for some reliable players, then go for it. I heard a lot about Robinson Cano when he was with the Yankees, and I saw a great Reddit post the other day. A lot of people were calling Robinson Cano lazy, saying that he didn't put in max effort. But maybe he had it right when he was with the Yankees because he played about 159 games a year for about 10 years straight. So maybe you don't need to go max effort on the bases or in the field or wherever until the situation absolutely calls for it. Robinson Cano would hit a ground ball to second base, and he would jog at about 70% down to first base. Now, every once in a while, the second baseman would boot the ball, and Robinson Cano would still get thrown out because he was not hustling. But I would rather that happen than have guys miss a month at a time trying to go 110% down to first base on a routine ground ball to shortstop like we saw with Glaber yesterday. Now, Glaber's a young man. He should be able to run to first base. Giancarlo Stanton, he's gotten hurt taking extra bases on balls in the dirt 2 years in a row. The slide into third base last year cost him some time with his knee, and then this year he takes second base and he leaves with a hamstring issue. You've got to be able to run the bases if you're a Major League Baseball player. If you are a professional athlete, you have got to be able to run the bases. I'm sorry. There's something fundamentally wrong with the approach that this team is taking with its training. And Eric Cressey has apparently not solved the issue. So if I'm Brian Cashman, I'm bringing in Cressey, I'm bringing in consultants from the outside, I'm getting everybody into the Yankees boardroom this weekend. While we're off, while the Mets are dealing with COVID, the series is postponed, get everybody together and say, let's solve this issue. We cannot have this keep happening. No good having a $200 million payroll and 10 All-Stars if none of them play. Come on! I'm getting a little fired up over this. But, you can understand the frustration. We've been dealing with this for 2 years, really 3 years, dating back to 2018. Now, I got to give credit to Giancarlo Stanton because he really stepped up when Judge went down with that freak wrist injury in 2018. But in 2019, we just had a record number of injuries, and you're expecting that the law of averages said that the Yankees should be pretty healthy in 2020. I might have got my years screwed up there. Sorry, I'm going on a rant. But last year, the Yankees had a record number of injuries. This year, you expect them to be better. You expect their new training program. You expect that the precautions and the dietary changes and all these other things that they're doing to lead to some kind of success in staying on the field. But that just hasn't been the case. And now it's our pitchers starting to go with elbow problems. It might be time to get on the horn and make some trades for some reliable guys. I'm not saying that Judge isn't reliable because he wanted to stay on the field, but the Yankees were over precautious with putting him on, and that cost them. They could have used him this week, but instead, they go to their next series, whenever that may be, as a second-place team, and now they're going to have to do some catching up because the Rays aren't going to slow down this weekend while the Yankees are out. The Rays are going to keep playing. They've got momentum. They just came into New York where the Yankees were undefeated and whooped our asses. Whooped our asses. Wasn't even close. The Rays completely dominated that series, start to finish, top to bottom in the lineup, top to bottom in the pitching staff. The only guy on the Yankees staff who actually looked pretty good was Garrett Cole, and even he gave up 2 home runs and was not his dominant self. So the Yankees have got to get it figured out, and I don't know what the solution is. And what about Matt Blake, the Yankees' new pitching coach? Does he escape responsibility here? The bullpen can't get anybody out. I get it. He's good at analytics, he's good at spin rate, and he understands all of these different tools. How about teaching guys to miss some bats or to pitch to some soft contact? You really expect to win games when everybody in the bullpen has an ERA of 7? Come on. Get it together. I'm just not buying what these new coaches and trainers are pushing because it has not worked. You've had months to work on it during this COVID shutdown. Months to work on things like spin rate or getting in shape or new training regimens. And so far, no results. The only guy who's come into camp or come into this season 100% healthy and mashing is Luke Voight. He looks like a frickin' Terminator out there. 5 home runs in 4 games. He's got 10 on the season. He's tied for the American League lead. I haven't checked to see if Trout hit one yesterday, but as of his 10th home run, he was tied with Trout for the American League lead. He's hitting home runs to all fields. He's ripping base hits. He had 3 hits yesterday. He's hitting .311. He's got an OPS of 1.115. Got 20 RBIs. This guy has got to be considered a top 5 first baseman in the league right now. And unfortunately, we're wasting it because we can't surround him with anybody who can stay on the goddamn field. So, as happy as I am to see guys like Luke Voigt mashing, and Clint Frazier, by the way, is also having a great season. We really need to just get guys on the field. We need our A lineup back out there. And so far, the training staff has been utterly incompetent. Utterly incompetent. So, this weekend, the Yankees were supposed to play the Mets. They were supposed to open up tonight and then play Saturday and Sunday, obviously. But the Mets had a case of COVID-19, and so the entire series has been canceled, which means the Yankees are just going to sit around for the next few days. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe they can catch a break. Now you can wait a few days before you take AJ off the IL. Let that mysterious calf injury heal up. Let Glaber heal up for a few days before you make the decision to send him to the IL. Maybe get him some extensive treatment. I think it's time for these guys to play through some injuries. I think it's time to play hurt. You're getting paid a lot of money. I'll go out there on one leg. I know most of these fans that are watching will. These ninnies can't play with a little sore muscle. You can't play baseball. Baseball's not that complicated. You're not tackling anybody. You're not running into people most of the time. You hit the ball, you throw the ball, you jog at 80% if your leg hurts. That's what it is. But these guys are just incredibly frustrating. And I just don't know if I can talk about it anymore. tune in whenever the Yankees do get back on the field for a pregame show, and postgame I'm going to resume. I might switch up the format a little bit. I might use these few days to kind of tweak the video format. I'm thinking about ways to, cutting the highlights is the toughest part. So maybe I can just figure out a way to get the highlights quickly after the game. I'm thinking about hiring an intern to cut the highlights for me so that I can just focus on, the analysis after the game, things like that. I'm thinking about different ways to do this to drive more traffic. I like to keep things fresh too. I get tired of looking at the same thing. I don't want to create the same video every single day. I like the pregame format because I like coming up with my joke every day to start off the show. And then there's always topics to talk about in pregame. So I'll keep doing that. The postgame format may be adjusted slightly as we go forward. I'm going to try and keep doing as many highlights, but I might cut back some of the highlights instead of doing like the entire game. There's a lot of guys that do highlights out there. There's an account named Wheels that does full highlights, and he kind of narrates his own play-by-play over it. Yankees Avenue, that's kind of like the biggest Yankees-only highlights channel. That's a pretty good one. They're pretty reliable, but they only do wins. So it's all about trying to get the right mix of highlights and commentary. And I'm still, this is a new channel, and this is my first year doing this, but I want it to be something that I can do every year. And doing 2 videos per day with cutting highlights the entire second video it's tough. It's tougher than I thought it would be, and I'm going to keep doing it for a while. I'm definitely going to finish the season doing 2 videos a day. But it might be to where next year I just need to do pregame and then just cut the highlights after the game and then, drop them into the pregame of the next day and do like a yesterday's recap type of deal. I don't know. I'm still working this out, but it seems like we have a bit of a following. Got a word salad today. And it's just I just got to keep it going and figure out what works for me and what works for the audience. So tell me what parts you like. Send me any ideas you have. Drop them in the comments. And let me know what else you want me to talk about, what other features you would like to see. I've been thinking about doing maybe some trivia stuff. If you guys want to send in some trivia questions, you can tweet to me, and I'll add them, and I'll put up your username, that type of stuff. I want to build this community out to the point where we can get a solid 5,000 to 10,000 people every game tuning in for the different highlights and things like that. And that'll help me do this more regularly. Potentially, I'd like to do this eventually full-time. But it's going to take a while to get there. We're generating a bit of money, but not enough for a full-time job or whatever. So, but I do really enjoy this so far. But I enjoy it a lot more when the Yankees can stay on the field. So, thanks to everybody for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Drop any comments you have in the comments section, and I will see you next time.